Hi guys, it's the Trying Dutchman here. Welcome to my channel. Well, I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you my take on what's the best combination of premium vehicles to earn silver lions. So it's not gonna be about grinding a specific tree like RP research points. It's gonna be solely focused on silver lions. So here we go. Well, since the economy in War Thunder is even more broken than the economy of Russia itself, I decided to do a how to spend your money to make Silver Lions guide. My objective here is to recommend platoons, being multiple units that complement each other, enabling you to make a constant proper amount of Silver Lions. Like always, this will work better in combination with premium time, but with these vehicles it's not a necessity. I'll be making 3 different videos to start the series with. One for ground units, one for naval units, and one for air battles, even though in air realistic you can only use one airplane, but I will give my opinion on which one that should be. After this video I'll be making another video on how to make Silver Lions without premium vehicles, since I have some tricks that I have not seen people recommend often or at all on YouTube or forums or whatever. And I know that about like 50% of all War Thunder players are content creators, but since in general my opinions and experiences differ from the things I hear other people say, I figured I'd just go ahead and make some videos anyways. Also when I comment on like a vehicle review from Seiko Sniper or anybody else, often I have a different view and then I share my opinion in the comments and people agree with me. Not saying that they don't agree with the other guys or that they make bad content, not at all. They're very great creators. It's just I always have a different take on things, and when I share it, people seem to have that too, so maybe this might be an extra addition. Anyways, let's see. Yeah, so let's get started on the ground units. My favorite and easiest way to earn Silver Lions is by far the British premium Centurion family. The reasons for that are quite varying, so I'll go in depth a bit more. Well, the biggest advantage of getting the British premiums is that you can respawn in another premium. Yeah, of course, but it's a major advantage. The first premium I bought was the T55 AM1, and although this is still one of my favorite vehicles, it has a major flaw, being that as soon as you die you're out of a premium vehicle. So if you get shot in the first minutes of a match, you won't receive any bonuses for the entire match after losing said T55. This goes for any premium vehicle that you just have one with in the lineup, whether it's a Terms, XM1, WMA, you name it. With the British, however, you have 3 premium vehicles at nearly the same BR, being 7.0 and 7.3 and 7.3. This means you can take several premium vehicles with you, so even when you die in one, you can always respawn in a second premium and even a third. Not just that, but you can buy several premiums for the price of one higher rank premium of other nations or of the same nation. I bought the AVRE and the Wyvern in a combo pack with 50% sale. And I bought the Action X also during a 50% sale, and in total I spent about 65 euros on these 2 premium tanks and the premium plane, being rank 4 for the Action X, rank 4 for the Wyvern, and rank 5 for the AVRE. And to complement that, I bought the rank 5 Centurion Mark 5-1, the Australian one, from the Guardian market for about 25 euros. So that makes a total of 90 euros. Now, is that cheap? No, hell no. But ever since I bought these units, I haven't been short of Silver Lions, like ever. I mean, I know I don't have a lot right now, but it's just, with this platoon, I average about 200,000 SL an hour. So that's in my opinion, that's good. I mean, I'm not a very good player. But with this platoon, even when you're not a good player, it's very hard to actually lose Silver Lions. After I bought this, I never had any stress, like I only have 10k left, or I want to have that plane, but I have to grind for freaking weeks to unlock it and stuff like that. So I always, I have the peace of mind knowing that if I just play a few matches with the premium British, it will be fine. You know, I will get enough Silver Lions. And to me, the lack of SL income was by far the biggest drawback of this game. It removed the fun and introduced stress and irritation. And ever since I got this platoon, I've been enjoying the game a lot, like a lot more. But with that out of the way, let's quickly dive into the vehicles to explain a bit more why I recommend these exact vehicles and this combination of vehicles. So we're gonna start with the APRE. Now, I really like this one. This thing can be an absolute monster if there's an urban map or anything close range. Basically, this thing is such a beast. It's really good. The gun is a 165mm howitzer and it fires hash ammunition. Show that. I don't know if I can show that. Yeah, this is the hash round. 203mm of pen, regardless of angle, as you can see. So if you shoot the side or the rear or like a curved angled surface, it doesn't matter. If it's less than 200mm, it will pen. Thanks to overpressure, you can basically one-shot anything. I usually shoot just below the enemy tank, making the overpressure blow up the tank through the thin bottom armor. There's, as far as I know, not a single tank with more than 200mm of bottom plate of the armor, so it basically always works. If that doesn't work, I usually go for the top of the turret, commander hatch or something like that. It works great. This vehicle is the most fun way to earn Silver Lions for me, and thanks to the reactive armor, the digging blade and extra crew member, the survivability is way above average compared to the tech tree, of course. Its biggest downsides, however, are its long reload, which is with an ace crew 21.3 seconds, which I have for this vehicle, but just to be clear, I unlocked it by grinding. I didn't buy anything. I only bought one ace crew ever, and that was for, like, I'll show it really quick. With this little guy. This is the only vehicle I ever bought ace crew for, but whatever, regardless. Yeah, so even with the ace crew, it's 21.3 seconds to reload, so that's a long time, and stock, it's like 28 or something. It's gonna be even worse for sure. I don't know if I can see that right here. Reloading, stock. Base 27 seconds, so that's insane. Let's see. The biggest downside for it, in my opinion, like I said, was the long reload and the huge projectile drop. Like, the shell is very heavy, so even if you shoot only 500 meters away, this thing sinks faster than a freaking Titanic. It just goes down insanely fast. So that's something to keep in mind. And the last downside is the low mobility. It's not terrible, but it's definitely not great. So that's something to keep in mind. And up next is the Centurion Action X. Now, I rarely see this thing getting any love, but in my opinion it's great, and you may wonder why. My answer would be it's fully stabilized. The gun is fully stabilized at 7.3 BR. There's a high penning APDS round with a fast reload, 6.6 seconds or something. 6.2 seconds when it's aced. Once again, I aced this through playing, not through money. Yeah, there's a 6.2 second reload, and this particular version has a whopping 192 millimeters of frontal armor. 198 even. 198, yeah, sorry, 198, depending on the location. But that's just very good. And if you compare that to like the T62, this one has roughly, yeah, it depends on the location, but roughly 200. At least over here it says 200 millimeters frontal turret armor at 8.3 BR. So this one only has 2 millimeters less at a full BR lower. So this thing is really hard to pen. Even with stuff like the lower grade heat FS, it's gonna be tricky. So yeah, those are the pluses. Let's see, yeah, and that armor combined with you know, the good ammo and the full stabilizer, make this thing a great vehicle to do some sniping, go hull down. It has -10 gun depression, so in contradiction to the T62 with -6, you actually can take advantage of the hull down idea. It doesn't always work, but way more often than with -5 or -6 gun depression. The biggest downside is the weak frontal hull armor. So not the turret armor, but the hull armor. It's 76 millimeters. That's just nothing. Basically anything can pen. If something doesn't bounce, it will pen basically. So that's a downside. It doesn't have any heavy machine guns. It only has one 7.62. So not even two, but just one. Yeah, that's just nearly useless. It's better to have one than none, of course, but it doesn't have any heavies. It only has one. So that's a downside. Unlike the APRE, the mobility is just poor. It's yeah, just everything except for the APRE goes for this one too. The little difference that this one weighs 50.8 tons, this one 52.2, so that's 1.4 tons difference. So this one is at least theoretically a little bit less slow, but that's about it. Okay, yeah, to conclude the Centurions, we're going to the Mark 5-1, the Australian one, if I'm correct. The biggest advantage that this one has is an extra 50 millimeters of armor on top of the normal plate. So this is 76 like the other ones, but this one has an extra 50 millimeters, which actually brings the armor up to the shot caliber lead, which I don't have, because this one has 51 millimeter plate too, with 70 behind it. So that's the same. Of course, this one gets ERA too, but you know, so it gets better armor, which is always great in my opinion. And it also gets a 50 cal heavy machine gun, which is something that I really like. Here's a 7.62, I think. Wait, sorry. Yeah, 7.62. Here's a 50 cal, and here's another 7.62. So we have 3 in total. I really like that, especially the 50 cal. So that's a big plus. And the last plus it has is the same as the Action X, which is a full stabilizer, decent turret rotation as well. The ammo, I forgot to show that earlier, for both the Centurion and both the Action X and the Mark 5-1. It has the APDS, 285 millimeters of pen. It does tend to bounce quite often off heavily sloped surfaces, but on the other hand, if it's not too sloped, it pens nearly everything. Post pen isn't great, but you just have to aim for crew members or ammo, and then you know you'll be fine. As for downsides, yeah, first of all, you know, the lack of mobility, like the others. It's the same platform, so it's not very fast. This one weighs 52 tons, only 200 kilograms lighter than that, so this one is also slightly less mobile than the Centurion Action X. But I think that's about the only major downside. Yeah, and compared to this one, like the AVRE is best for close range city environments. This one is a bit in between, it's a bit of a brawler, and this one is just best for sniping, because this one has more armor here, which is a bit trolly, so people will often shoot at that. Going hull down with this, if you have this one, is pointless, because this one has a 152 millimeter turret armor, and this one, like I said, has, depending on the location, 198. So this one, worse hull armor, better turret armor, great for sniping, and this one, worse turret armor, better hull armor, better for close to mid-range engagements, and like I said, also fully stabilized, so that's really good. One other downside, by the way, is that it doesn't have any side skirts. You can see this one has side skirts like 6 millimeters or something, and this one even has composite, but 6 millimeters, nothing. So that's the downside. Doesn't make a lot of difference, but for things like artillery and heat FS, it's nice to have that extra but it doesn't. So that's something to keep in mind. The next premium in this lineup might come as a bit of a surprise. Well, not anymore, because you've been seeing this screen like for many minutes now. But that's the Crusader, the Saint. Why do I use this one? Even though it's only 2.7 BR. Well, there's several reasons for that actually. One is that it's pretty mobile. It has better mobility, better speed than all of these ones, better top speed too. Nothing insane, but 32 after 20 seconds or 35 after 2 minutes. That's a big difference. So there's that. Also, it's surprisingly effective. The gun at higher BR. It's nothing great, but it has a very good reload, as you can see, 3.3 seconds. So things like mortars or RCVs or these light vehicles in general, you can basically frontally pen them, and it has ammo with explosive filler as well, if I am correct. Yeah. So if you can go from the side, it's not great, but I mainly use it for scouting, and I use it for capping. So if I'm in a match and we are almost losing, and I don't want to risk, these aren't high repair prices, but I just don't want to risk it, or it's too slow, I just need speed, then I go for this one, because the repair cost is 1100. That's just nothing. The reason we're going to the next vehicle now, the reason I use the Concept 3 is basically the same reason as for the Crusader. So it can scout, it's very mobile, low repair cost. But the difference is I basically always use the Concept 3, except for when I'm on snow maps or desert maps, with sand and stuff that makes wheeled vehicles go very fast, slow. Only then I go for the Crusader, but I prefer this one. So when I'm on a road map, basically with good surface, road surface, then I will use this one. Also because this one can actually frontally pen things like Leopard 1s, even up to the 9.0 Leopard 1s. I only started creating content a little while ago. I just got this PC a few weeks ago. I've been playing War Thunder for about 1.5 years now. So I will eventually make a video with like a kill compilation or something from killing leopards with the Concept 3. But anyways, it has 152mm of pen on the best round. Kind of hope that we will get APDS for this one, because in real life it could fire that. I don't care if they bump it up in BR. Like I use it as 7.3 anyway. I rather have good ammo. So, but this thing is literally the concept version of the Roycat. Let's see, right there. But it's not stabilized, worse ammo. It's literally a big downgrade. It's the predecessor actually of the Roycat. So I really like that, and that's why I use it. Let's see. Yeah, last but not least for the ground vehicles is the Eastervaart. Now, there once was a time when you could use the Falcon at 7.3, but then it got up to 7.7, then 8.0, and instead of Guardian just removing the APDS and putting it back at 7.3, just after the A basically, because these two combined have the same BR that one does. So, and I don't like this one. I don't do good with it. This one is okay, but it's not my favorite. And this one, I just really like it. I don't know why. It's such a derpy vehicle, but I've destroyed a Leopard once with it. I have a video on my channel of me killing a Leopard 1 with this thing. The gun is really easy to move. I have a video of me shooting down the plane while I'm moving myself, even though it's not stabilized. So it's just point and shoot. So I really like it. It has low repair cost, relatively. It has zero survivability, of course. So that's the thing. But it's just fun. It's R3. It's a disabled R3. Like damn. So yeah, I like that. And if I died in that and I still need to cap, and I'm pretty sure it's a safe cap, I'll just rush with this thing anyway. That's the whole point of these three vehicles, is cap, basically. Just cap, just rush. We're losing the match. It's we're behind on points. These are slow and more expensive to repair, so I just go kamikaze with these things. Yeah, so that's it for the ground vehicles in this platoon. Up next is the Wyvern Weapon. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I'm just gonna say Wyvern and hope it's good. Let's see. As for armament, it has 4 20mm Hispano guns. You can use the ground targets. I always use the ground targets regardless of air or ground matches. These are the most consistent in my opinion, in my experience. So I always use this 26mm armor pen. Not great, but good enough for light vehicles or anything without the top. And as for the bombs, you have, or other bombs, the secondary armament, you have quite some options. Personally, I always just go for these. You have 1, 2, 3 bombs. You can drop them in 2 separate drops, so not in 3 but in 2. They have pretty good pen damage because they are 1,000-pound bombs and they have 13 meters of destruction. And if you look, for example, on the USA secondary weapons, then the 1,000 bombs. These have 14. These are a bit better. Okay, that was not what I expected. Can I go anywhere else to prove my point? Probably not. Derp. Not there either. Does this one have 1,000-pound bomb? 500,000. This is 1,000 kilogram. This is okay. Well, okay. So scratch that argument. The bombs are not a lot better than the alternatives, but I do know for sure, unless they recently changed it, which I wouldn't be surprised about. There used to be 1,000-pound bombs, 500 kilogram bombs that only did like only 11 or 12 millimeters meters of destruction, so they had a smaller spread. So anyways, these are good. These are proper bombs. They are easy enough to destroy targets with. You have these massive rockets, good pen, especially for this BR. 40 kilograms nearly of TNT, so that's a shit ton too. I don't really use them a lot because usually I only hit targets when I'm really close, but when I'm that close I kill myself by shockwave and stuff, so that's pointless in my opinion. These are pretty good, but you know, it all depends on player preference. Basically I just always use that one. It's the most consistent, always use the same, then you get used to the approaches and stuff, and if you pick something different every time, you're just reducing your effectiveness voluntarily, basically. So might be more fun, you know. Every once in a while I change, and sometimes I use these in naval battles, sometimes not very often. But in general I just go for the bombs. Okay, but up next, you know, a little bit of armor. Well, a little bit, 64 millimeters is not bad, but and a back plate. But regardless of that being the only armor, this thing can take a beating. Like, you can get shot a lot and still survive, so that's always a good thing. It flies like a turd, the turning circle. Yeah, these stats are not even always super accurate for any altitude and stuff, but it says 32 seconds plus 5 for the bombs, nearly 5, and rate of climb 23 meters minus a third because of the bombs. So you know, it flies like a brick. It's in my opinion, it's one of the worst premium airplanes, but it's one of the best premiums because this thing you will almost always make a profit with it, in air or in ground RB. It doesn't matter because it's cheap to repair, pretty cheap to repair, and it has pretty good silver lining boost. So it's just so noob friendly, and I grinded this entire tree. I'm over here right now. I grinded this all with the Wyvern. Like if I go to player stats, service records, and then I want only aviation. No. Then you see this one is by far the most used, by far. So yeah, I just use that to grind the entire tree basically. So that's fine, even though you get, you don't get punishment for this, punishment as in reduction of RP. but here you do. But I got this one and this one like in a month or something, and I rarely ever play air, so I only play air during events when you have to bomb stuff, kill so many planes, blah 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 blah. And basically every event I could get at least a full rank 6 airplane research, so that's good. Let's see, next thing. Yeah, when using the platoon I just described, it's nearly impossible to lose Silver Lions. The Silver Lion multipliers are good, the repair costs are low, and the Centurions all have a clear advantage compared to both the tech tree variants, being either more armored, having better ammo, an added 50 cal, and most importantly way lower repair costs while having higher multipliers. So that's when you compare these to the tech tree variants. And when I show that, like, this is the Mark III, stock repair cost 7,000. And if I go over here, let's see, I want to know the max repair cost. Max repair cost in air RB, a ground RB, is over 9,000. And these ones are 32, 36, 3140, while having a higher Silver Lion boost, while having a better turret, while having better armor and a better gun, while having better armor and a 50 cal. So they are better in every single way than the tech tree variant. And the other comparison is compared to your enemies. At this BR, fully stabilized, one shot everything. They just have advantages to the enemies you are facing as well. And like when I was playing the T-55 AM1, it has more armor and stuff, but you're not in a clear advantage as opposed to your opponents. Like if you were to have a fully stabilized tank with thermals at 8.0, you're definitely in an advantage. That would be a great premium to buy. But as far as I know, there isn't any, at least not one with decent armament. So yeah, you have clear advantage compared to the tech tree variants, and you have clear advantage compared to the enemy vehicles. So it's really the way to go, in my opinion. Of course, I bought these a half a year ago. It took me like a half a year to grind nearly the entire ground tree, and at least more than half of the air tree. So it's just, and I don't play that much, you know. So it's really, I really recommend this combination. It's not cheap at all, but you will never ever have to worry about making Silver Lions, you know. You just play for a few hours, earn half a mil, and you're like, woo. So that's good. Yeah, personally I don't think there's any combination of premiums that give such a clear advantage over both the tech tree variants and the enemy vehicles. Yes, the prices are way too high even during sale, but if you were like I was, you know, the lack of income ruining the gaming experience for you, then this will be the best way to enjoy the game again and progressing faster than ever before, because Silver Lions can be used on any vehicle, any tech tree. You need it for everything. So if you find a way like this to just be proficient in that, then it's super nice. And even though I've been talking strictly about earning Silver Lions, you will rush through the British tech tree in no time with this combination of vehicles, so that's a nice bonus as well. Yeah, well, that's it for today's video. I'll make a follow-up on creating a decent naval platoon to earn Silver Lions with, for those that don't like ground. Same goes for air. And if you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please leave a comment or like, or consider subscribing for more content. If you don't agree with me or you have a different opinion, you're free to share that in the comments as well, or if you have room for improvements. This is my first like gaming review I ever did, so there's sure enough room for improvement, but I do really like doing these. I really enjoy it, so that's of course a bonus for myself. Let's see, yeah, well, I think that was about it. That's it for today. Let me know what you guys think, and Trying Dutchman out.